you think about that violin?
It was really good. He did really nice vibrato, and he's very passionate about it.
His brethren, and he goes to Alexandria to convert a very famous courtesan, basically a prostitute. And Alexandria is just this bacchanal of debauchery and, you know, people just living for pleasure. And he goes and he meets, and he prays for her, and he you know, somehow he gets through to her. And she has this scene alone, and you hear this meditation, this violin solo. And so eventually she comes around and she converts, you know, to Christianity. And he takes her to a nunnery and leaves her there with the sisters. But the problem is, he's fallen in love with her. So while she's found God, he's gone the other way, and he's lost the spiritual kind of call. Yeah. So at the very end of the opera, you hear this beautiful meditation, accompanied with his anguished cries for her, you know, not to because she's dying and not to die and everything, and she's like this ecstatic kind of thing happening at the end where she says, I can see, you know, heaven opening before me and everything, and he's like, no, don't.
Yes.
So that's how the opera ends.
And is that piece that you played?
It's verbatim. It's at the very end of the opera.
So
yeah, that's her last note. Floats up to that high A, and then the orchestra crashes in, and then she dies, and that's it. That's the end.
Pretty interesting opera, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
My teacher said what you should know is that this guy was very holy, but he had the hots for Thais, you know. So.
Listen, you guys, my dear wife is from Colorado, and I'm from Chicago. So, our baritone, we did so beautifully in church, is going to sing 2 songs. One in honor of my dear wife, Elizabeth, called Rocky Mountain High. And another one, I don't know who composed it, called Chicago.
Harold is a man with ideas. And this was all his idea.
In the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before, he left yesterday behind him. You might say he was born again. You might say he found a key for every door. Now when he first came to the mountains, his life was far away, on the road and hanging by a song. But the string's already broken, and he doesn't really care. It keeps changing fast, and it doesn't last long. But the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain and fire in the sky. The shadow from the starlight is softer than a lullaby. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado.
No, that's not in the original version. I'm sorry. That's not in your text. Okay. Now, believe it or not, I had the chance to work with Frank Sinatra many years ago. And I wanted to ask him, what does toddlin' mean? But I was too afraid. But anyway, so here goes. Chicago, Chicago, that toddlin' town. Chicago, Chicago, I'll show you around. I love it. Bet your bottom dollar that you lose the blues in Chicago. Chicago, the folks who visit want to settle down. On State Street, that great street, I just want to say, they do things they don't do on Broadway. Say, you'll have the time of your life. Bring all your friends, your kids, and your wife to Chicago. Chicago, my hometown. Yeah.